Hello, boys and girls. J-Bo here, once again on YouTube. I have something pretty special. I think so, anyway. I was actually asked if I could do a video on this. And I did one on my man with no name pistola. But this one is the only, I guess, commercially made by Colt originally. This is a Cimarron 1872 open top. Called an open top because it doesn't have the strap over the top like with a conventional revolver. It is a 38 special. It can shoot 38 short Colt, long Colt, 38 long Colt, which I've never seen any, but I have fired 38 short with black powder in this. Fired it just fine. Those were fun, actually. Big plumes of smoke. Made a mess. It was a lot of work to clean because previously this was lubricated with gun oil. And if you know anything about black powder, gun oil and black powder make goo or gunk or sludge. So basically you don't use oil with black powder guns. You clean it up with soap and water, but this was not easy to clean. But anyway, beside the point, it was I had come across them and it shot them just fine. So what's really cool about this is the front sight. I'll get this to focus here. Is quite nice to look at. It gives a good sight picture, as you can see, and the only way you can see it and just to cock it. And there you go. You just sit the tip right in that little notch like that. Oh, there we go. So this was checked before making the video. I actually just cleaned it because I don't have any 38 specials right now, and I don't know when I'm going to get some. It might be soon, but the first thing is there's a history on this, which has the Texas Navy battle commemoration here. And as you see on the black powder revolvers, which is really cool because it celebrated Texas's first Navy battle in combat. So that was stuck on there originally by Colt with the black powder guns. Now what people used to do way back when cartridges were first coming around being available, is they had these black powder guns already made, and they would cut the back end of the cylinder off and put an insert that you could then load with cartridges like that. So those were called conversion revolvers. And this was actually a Colt Design, something to do with a patent problem they had with, I think, Smith & Wesson. And they weren't allowed to use the same kind of cartridge revolvers design for some reason. Maybe you could research that yourself. It's always a fun read. And I'm just going by memory, which sometimes is good, sometimes it isn't. And what's cool about this is this was basically a design of the black powder guns. But instead of making a conversion, this was actually the production model for 1 year in 1872 before they came out with the 1873 six-shooter that we're all familiar with today. And that is what is unique about this. They actually made this in a factory like this. And they stuck the ejector rod on the side, which you have to bring it up like this and then down. So it's a little strange to swivel this down like this and then bring it back. So it takes some getting used to, which I am now. But when I first got it, I was like, yeah, you know, fumbling with it. But it works well, just like any other. And what's really interesting about this is I'm going to take it apart. And it has another one of these screws with the flat end on it to line up with the groove cut out in the wedge. And another thing I like about this is the fixed rear sight, non-adjustable. And when you see these, you're like, man, if this doesn't shoot right, I'm screwed, right? But it shoots right on the money. So I guess I don't know how they're making this or sighting it. Maybe I just got lucky, but it's sighted 100% right on. And I'm very happy about that, obviously. So on here we have the Cimarron FA Company, Fredericksburg, Texas. Uberty, Italy. So it's a Cimarron made by Uberty. And I am very, very happy with this. And it's basically the same as all their other ones. Just, you know, little different designs with the sights and whatnot. Very smooth action. It just feels really good. And this little square block in here, you see that? That's a safety. And you have a little flathead screw. And you turn that, and that little block pivots out and sticks out, preventing the hammer from going all the way down. But, you know, obviously to shoot it again, you would have to unscrew that, put that back, and then put it back. So there's no real practical purpose for that, other than maybe they had to put a safety on it, which would be odd because I don't think their other guns have them, or maybe they do, like the transfer in the hammer safety on the 1873. So there's probably the lawyers there saying, hey, you have to do this. So anyway, I'm going to take a second to run in the other room. It won't take long. I already have it out, but I want to get my 1873 Uberty 357 so you could see what they did the year after they made this one as a factory production model compared to the 1873. So what's interesting about the 1873 model, which was the year after the 1872, is the military had said, this is not a good enough design. We need more strength because we want to use higher calibers. And without having that strap on the top, like you do on this one, they're not going to accept a contract for that. So that was part of the reason why they came out with the one that we all love today. And I will do a video on this one at some point. This is the first Uberty I bought. Cabela's, I believe. It was $500. And I really, really love this. It's in 357 and 38. Shoots long 38, 38 short. And that's it. The Smith & Wesson 38s won't fit in here. Some 357s, you can shoot those, but not this one. And they're all nice and smooth. But the safety I was talking about is this one has the transfer bar safety. So the only way the hammer stays stiff and strikes is if your finger is on the trigger. When it's not, it won't fire. So that's what they did with that. I would still leave that empty though if I was carrying, which I do. So anyway, let's go ahead and take this apart. And first we're going to unscrew it so that flat part of the screw is on the bottom. Then we pop the wedge out. half cock that, and we can pull that right off, just like that. And that's the interesting thing about this is like the black powder 1851 Colt, but they just kept the rough design there and made a factory production model like this rather than converting an original 1851. So it's its own kind of deal. It's solid steel, very heavy, but it feels balanced when you have the rest of it behind it. And they just stuck on this ejector rod, which is just attached by that screw going through here. And it's not very engineered geniusly by today's standards, but hey, it got the job done. Until they came out with this version. Which we all know and love. So that's very interesting, to me anyway. And then we have this same black powder 1851 kind of design. And there's nothing special there from anything else that's available. I do like the fact that they put the last 3 numbers of the serial on the inside of the cylinder, so you know they match. And they also put it on the wedge as well. So that's kind of cool too. So it's a very, very cool, same old thing, the same loading gate as the Man with No Name one that I was telling you. You should buy extra springs like that from the Cimarron website. Go to their support part portion on their website. They will have schematics, and all the schematics have the parts numbered on what part is what. And I ordered a few extra ones of these springs because I know that those are known issues with this. And that's just why they wear from opening and closing the loading gate. And it's just screwed in there with the pressure from that spring pushing up against this. And that's all that gives it tension. So it wears out after a while and needs to be replaced. So I ordered an extra screw and like 3 extra springs because I get two pistols, and I've shot these quite a bit and they haven't broken yet, but I know they will eventually. So you need a heads up on that. So as always, these are made well, good quality, they clean up well, the bluing is decent, and so these are very, very, very cool, and I like these a lot. They go together easy, obviously, and sometimes when you have to fix things, you can do that yourself. This was a regular wedge bolt that fit in here that was all the way around with no flat spot, so I ground off a little flat spot because the original one, I thought I had unscrewed it enough, and I didn't, and what happened was it had turned while I was knocking the wedge out, and this little lip in here, a little recessed pocket, caught the edge of that on the way out and snapped the head off the screw. And trying to find a new screw with a flat side online is virtually impossible. So don't make that mistake. And I've taken this out so many times. It's just that one time it turned back down and I didn't look at it first after I had already loosened it and snapped it off. But I made a reasonable facsimile and it does the same thing. So we'll put the wedge back in there. And then we'll turn this like that, and that prevents it from coming out when you're shooting. See, it stops it, but you push it in until it's tight, and it's just one of those things, and it works fine. So a really cool gun. And the other thing I wanted to show is on a black powder gun, the rear sight is cut right into the hammer, and so that's one of those things that they changed for this to make it more easily used and serviceable. Use it to be used in service. So it's much easier to aim like that than to use the hammer. So they did a lot of redesign over the years, and obviously this was the winner. And so you can't go wrong with the Uberty stuff, Cimarron or what have you. They're all fun, and you know, I don't care if I get little nicks in the handles and the grips, because you know, it gives it character. If you look at the original one, some of these are all split and cracked, and you know, and it kind of gives it their charm. Plus, I just really love how, I mean, who doesn't love that? And Uberty did some innovative things. Consider this an extra in the video, I guess. But the hand that's inside there for the cylinder to click with to make that noise is not a spring-loaded hand, but there's a spring in there separately. So Uberty changed the design, which makes these more reliable and last longer, because regular revolvers like this, or black powder guns, or guns like this, which has a regular hand with a spring, they break frequently. And this will not. I have shot the hell out of this, and I haven't had any parts malfunction other than the trigger spring, the sear spring, for the bolt stop, which is combination bolt stop and trigger spring. And you can get wire ones now, which are softer and more like butter, but they also make the trigger easier, and some people don't like that. This one's pretty good. So anyway, the 1872 open top is a very, very, very fine handgun, and a lot of fun, and I think you would really like it. And they're all about the same price, $500 to $600, and they're made well, and I just think you would enjoy it. So if you want something different, these are all very heavy, and they're all very long. This is the 7.5-inch barrel, I think, which is pretty tremendous. And man, that's just really awesome. So I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.